ago, I went on vacation with the family. It was a wonderful vacation. We were gone for about 8 days. And on the way back, it was like a 2.5 hour flight, and there were storms coming into Orlando. So we had to like circle above storms for like 2 hours, and then had to go to Tampa to get gas, come back to Orlando, get dropped off, get the car, go get our car, and then we still had to drive an hour and some change to where we live. And so the total day from the time we left the hotel to the time that we got in bed was about 14 and some change hours. And me and my wife trained 4 or 5 good times during that 8 days when we were on vacation, but nothing crazy, just kind of you could almost say like a deload week, just kind of like reducing the intensity a little bit, but we still trained, kept some momentum going. A lot of times when I'm traveling or I'm in different environments and I'm like out of my routine, I just try to keep the mental momentum going. Basically, I just, show up and, try to get a good pump going, try to stick with the exercise, get some cardio, and I try to keep my protein super high. I didn't track food the entire time during the vacation. I didn't eat a bunch of bullshit, but I also didn't obsess about food. I wasn't tripping. A lot of times I think if I don't stick to my routine, I'm going to lose progress, which is just mental bullshit. So I maintained the same weight. And when we got back, about day 5, I noticed me and my family are about 5-day travelers. Everybody in my household needs a routine and some structure to be their best self, which, is great. I love that. So anyways, we traveled to 14 hours, and, me and my wife both laid down and were like, my wife gets up at 5:30 to do her 6 to 7 a.m. class before work, and, I get all the kids ready and go drop them off, and then I train before I go to work. And I was thinking to myself, man, we could take the day off and recover a little bit. It wouldn't be that big a deal, only getting like 5 or 6 hours of rest. But we both got up, showed up for ourselves, and went to the gym. Now, was the workout super flat? Yeah. It wasn't like the most intense workout I've ever had. It was a mediocre workout, just got through it. But again, that mental momentum is everything. You're sick, your kids waking up throughout the middle of the night, kids are sick, you don't feel well, you don't eat well one day, the next day you don't feel great. There are all these things that pop up, especially being 38 years old, father, husband. A lot of stuff comes up, and you got to have a short-term memory when those things. And I just keep going. I just show up. Every day isn't going to be like the best workout, the best pump. You're not going to feel great, but I always show up. I always show up for myself. I always show up for my family. I always show up. And that to me is the biggest factor when it comes to progress and getting ahead. I love training because it's me versus me. And for me, just showing up and being consistent overrides all the other shit. Intensity and consistency will override all the other shit. Now, I'm not saying if you eat like trash all the time, you can just be, do intense workouts and be consistent at it and get the physique you want. But what I'm saying is if you live by this 80-20 rule, and I train to intensity every time I train, and I'm consistent. I make at least 4 or 5 training sessions, resistance training throughout the week, and for the most part, about 80%, I'm prepping food. I'm eating prep food. So those 20%, you go on vacation. I'm not trying to be weighing food out and worrying about what the fuck I'm eating. You know, I'm trying to relax, enjoy the vacation, enjoy time with my kids, with my wife, the scenery, going places. Like, if you are doing the hard work when there aren't all these factors of life, it's like when the factors do show up, it's not a huge deal. You just deal with them, do the best you can, and just get back on track. That's it. It's not that difficult. So a lot of people, in most cases, like, have difficulty getting back on track. You know, like, miss a couple days, something happens, whatever, and it's like you done lost that momentum, and it's super difficult for you to get back on track and stick to your structure. And that's why I'm encouraging you to keep mental momentum going when you're having these life things show up. You know, in some cases, man, you can only get like 20 minutes of cardio in. You know, sometimes you mess up on your diet, or sometimes you binge on something that you wanted. Okay, big fucking deal. Keep it going, right? Hit the cardio, go sweat, do something that will make you, that you can contribute to yourself. Everything isn't like home runs. You know, sometimes it's like, okay, well, I only got time to like hit a 20-minute at-home workout, or, you know, okay, I can't work out, so can I do some mobility? Can I do some stretching? You know, can I do Epsom salt soak bath? Can I enhance my recovery in some sort? You know, like, contribute in some way to yourself, and don't like make it a wash just because you did something that you didn't, that you weren't proud of or whatever. Don't like fucking just give up and start tanking. Don't make it a wash. Contribute to yourself, right? If you need help coming up with a plan of structure to stick to, whether it's training, nutrition, just like mental toughness, different structure, whatever you need, reach out to me. I'll help set you up with a plan. I've got basically like an hour consulting call for $99, and you can ask whatever questions you need. If you want to talk about training for an hour, we can do that. If you want to talk about nutrition for an hour, you can do that. Whatever direction and guidance that you need for that hour, you can ask those questions. You can send it to me beforehand. I create PDFs for you that you can reference back to, and you will at least leave with 30, 60, 90-day plan out of that call with clear directions and clear next steps on what you can do to achieve your goals. And I've got a nutrition systems guide that you get when you get the call, that is basically gives you all the different listed macros and the protein content by sections: protein, carbs, fats, dairy, you know, all the different things, so you can choose how to fit those things into your macros that we've set for you to achieve the goal of the physique that you want, whatever it is, building muscle, cutting fat, all that. So reach out to me, let me know if you need assistance.